Hi students, in the last class we saw the slab rates of the income tax. Okay, so I hope all of you understand. Okay, so there are three categories are there for the slab rates of the tax. Okay, so now in this session we will see the theory related to the types of residential status of an individuals. Okay, so what's the residential status are this? Okay, so now see, so this is the residential status. Okay, so there are two types of the resident status. The first one is a what's the resident, and the second one is a what non-resident India. Okay, so this resident, it includes the resident, ordinary resident, and the resident but not ordinary resident. Okay, so this resident includes two types: resident, ordinary resident, resident but not ordinary residents. Okay, so now how to identify the individual status? So it is resident or not resident, or it may be the resident ordinary resident, or it may be resident but not ordinary resident. Okay, so how to identify that the individual status in India? Okay, so for that purpose the condition is there. Okay, so what's the conditions are this? Okay, so now there are two types of the conditions. So which are those two types? So basic conditions and the additional conditions. Okay, so now first of all see the basic conditions. Okay, so there are two basic conditions. So first one is, just see, he is in India for a total period of 182 days or more during the previous year. Okay, during the previous year. Or one more basic condition is there, which is the he or she is in India for a total period of 60 days or more during the previous year, and 365 days or more during the 4 years preceding to previous year. Okay, so these are the two basic conditions. Okay, so these are the two basic conditions. The first one is what? So he or she is in India for a total period of 182 days or more during the previous year. Okay, so previous year means what? So in the problems they will give the assessment year. Okay, so before that assessment year, whatever the year will come, so is nothing but the previous year. Okay, so in that previous year he or she should be lived in India how many days? 182 days. Okay, and the second condition is what? He is in India for a total period of 60 days or more during the previous year. During the previous year means what? Whatever the assessment is given, so before that, preceding that, so whatever the year is there, which is that the previous year, that in that year he or she should be 60 days should be there. Okay, so as well as 365 days or more during the 4 preceding to previous year. Okay, so these are the two basic conditions are there. Okay, so next one is what's the additional conditions. So which are those additional conditions? He is in India, he is in resident in India for at least 2 years out of 10 years preceding to previous year. And second one, he is in India for a period of 730 days or more during the 7 years preceding to previous year. Okay, so these are the what's the additional conditions. Okay, you should know the basic conditions as well as the additional conditions. With the help of these conditions, with the help of this condition we can ascertain, or we can know the residential status. Okay, so that is the resident, or the resident ordinary resident, or that may be the resident but not ordinary resident, or non-residents. We can identify with the help of these conditions. Okay, so now how to identify the resident status of the India. Okay, so now see, for the resident purpose, which are those conditions should be satisfied. Okay, so for the resident purpose, he or she must satisfy any one of the basic conditions. Okay, so out of these two conditions, any one should be satisfied. Okay, any one should be satisfied for the resident purpose. Okay, he must stay for 182 days or more in India during previous year, or he must stay for 60 days or more in India during previous year, and 365 or more in a 4 years prior to previous year. Okay, so out of these two conditions, any one condition should be satisfied for the resident purpose. Okay, so what's for the resident and ordinary resident? Okay, so for that purpose, so he or she must satisfy both the additional conditions. Okay, so if you want to if they want to resident or unresidents, then both the additional conditions should be satisfied. Okay, so which are those? He must be resident in India in at least 2 years out of 10 years prior to previous year, or he must stay in India for 730 days or more in 7 years prior to previous years. Okay, so both the additional conditions should be satisfied for the resident and ordinary resident. Okay, so next, for the resident but not ordinary residents. Okay, so which are those conditions should be satisfy any one of the basic conditions. Okay, any one of the basic condition and does not satisfy both the additional conditions. Okay, there is a no need to satisfy additional conditions, but at least one should be satisfied for the resident but non-ordinary residents. Okay, and for the non-resident purpose, does not satisfy any of the basic conditions. Okay, does not satisfy any one of the basic conditions, then it will be what's non-residents. Okay, so like this you have to ascertain the resident status of a individual. Okay, so but you should know the basic conditions as well as the additional conditions. Okay, so with the help of these conditions we can easily ascertain the residential status as well as the resident and ordinary resident, or resident but not unresident, and the non-residents we can identify. Okay, so I hope you will understand. If it is you not understand, you can contact me. Thank you.